Hi everybody, I'm back with Jingle, Jangle in July Christmas series. I think we're on number 4, if I'm not mistaken. And today I'm going to be making a coordinating card and gift box. First, I'm just going to show you some of the supplies I used. For my flowers, I used some of this flower, I call it flower, I don't know what else you could call it, bling. That was gifted to me a long time ago and I forgot I had it. So I'm really trying to use supplies up that I have found in my stash, and I've been organizing and thought, what the heck, I'm going to start using this stuff up. It's a nice thing about organizing. You find stuff you didn't even know you had or forgot you had. And then I also used this stamp, Do Not Open Until Christmas, from the Merry and Bright TPC Studio stamp set. Had this a long time as well. I used a snowflake embossing folder, some of this Recollections bling here, which I'll show you how I used it then. And I also used the Merry Christmas to All and To All Good Night sentiment and the Santa and His Sleigh stamp set here. And this is from Inkadinka-Doo, and it's called Holiday Silhouette. So I used that one. I also, for the card, am using my A7 size envelopes, so I won't be doing a tutorial on an envelope because I'm using these. And I also used scraps from this Martha Stewart craft paper collection, and I totally forgot I had this in my stash, but I have tons of scraps I'm trying to use up. I'm going to be making embellishments and all kinds of things. So I was actually looking on Pinterest for a card that maybe I could use some scraps for, and I found this one. I'm going to share it with you. This one totally inspired me to make the card. And I'm sorry, my internet is slow. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Sorry, guys. I did have this pulled up earlier. It's this card right here. I thought it was so cute, and I thought, you know what? It doesn't need a whole lot of designer paper for it. I loved it, and this is the blog spot it came from, if you're interested in checking her out. Okay, so that's where I got my inspiration for my card. And here's how my card turned out. Really, really simple. I just made a flower here, used the bling center, and we're going to make this flower today as well. And then this is the embossing, and the inside I left blank. So this is the card, and then this is the coordinating little gift box that I made. And the reason why I wanted to make a gift box is because I made this wine cork snowman ornament, and I needed a gift box for it to fit into, and I wanted it large enough for if you want a bigger ornament to put in there or some goodies, and also house tissue paper. So this box with the lid measures 4 inches long by 2 inches high and 3 inches wide. And then this is the little guy that I've recently made from a wine cork. I'm just going to show you the whole thing. And I'm also thinking about doing a little tutorial on this guy for the next video in the series. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started on making the card, and then we're gonna make the box. But first, I want to show you how to create this really super simple flower, and then we will start the card. So what you're going to need for the big flower on the card, I used 2 flower petals punched out from a medium size Fiskars 5-petal punch, and then I used one from my small punch, and then I punched out 2 more of the small ones for the flower, for the ribbon here. Okay, and I'm just going to show you really quick how to shape them. It's so easy. I just wanted to add a little tiny bit of character to the flower. I have a little piece of foam here, and I've already done these two. So I have my white piece of cardstock, and all I did, sorry about that, stuck to my finger. All I did was take my stylus, and if you don't have a stylus, you can use like the back of a paintbrush, anything with like a rounded edge. And all I did was go around the edge of the petals and a little bit in the center and just kind of shaped it so it curled up. And you're going to do that to every petal you have. I've already done all of my petals except this one because I thought I'd share it with you. But basically it just kind of gives the flower a little bit of character instead of it just being super flat. And I did not spray this with any glimmer mist or water. You could do that if you wanted to, but I'm not really doing a lot of manipulation with the petal, so I didn't feel it was necessary. Once you have all of your petals curled up, just flip it over and kind of just roll this around the back and flip it back up. It should look something like that. And then once you have them all done, I used a white layer, and then I did run out of this green paper here. I had enough for the box we're going to make, but I ended up having to use this for the card. So it's a little bit different, but it'll still coordinate. I used a little bit of hot glue, and I staggered the petals, pressed it in. Then I also have one of those little ones I punched out and rolled up. I'll put that there. Whoop. Kind of hot glued myself. And then I just took one of these blings and glued it right into the center. So I'm just going to add some hot glue there. Pop that in the center. And then our flower's ready to go for the card. And then, like I said, for the box, for the bow, I just used 2 small punches. I did the same thing with the stylus, shaping up the petals, and then I just staggered the petals. And then on this particular flower, I put a little piece of foam on the back of the bling because I wanted it to have a little bit of dimension. And I'm going to add some hot glue to that, and then put it in the center of the flower. Okay, so super simple, just looks like that, and it's ready for our bow. And speaking of our bow, this bow is so easy. I have a lot of these little like 1/2-inch pieces, and I thought, why can't I make a bow from that? So what you're gonna need for the bow, I took a piece that measures 12 inches by 1/2 inch. And a lot of our papers come with borders that measure 12 by 1/2. So you could probably use up some of your borders to make some bows. But all I did was run my bone folder underneath it a little bit. Just kind of soften up the paper and get it rounded. Okay, you're going to take your 2 ends, kind of pull them like this, like you would a bow. So one on top of the other, and then you're just going to push this in to create a bow. Super simple. I'll do it one more time. Take your 2 ends, join them together till you form your 2 tails. Okay, should look like that. Hold it there. All you're going to do is push in the center and hold it, and you have a super simple bow. Now, I didn't use hot glue for this part because I didn't want to burn my fingers, but I basically stuck some glue in here. Oh, got a little, it's a little stuck there. Stuck some glue in here and here, and just kind of pinched it to hold the glue together. So if you have a lot of these pieces like I do, and if I could, I'll show you what I mean by that. I had a bag of scraps sitting here. And I could have showed you where the, I don't know where I stuck them. Isn't that, oh, here it is. I have a bag of scraps, and this is what I mean. Like, I have a bunch of these 1/2 inch by 12 inch border pieces in my paper pads, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make a super simple bow. Not everybody has a bow maker or things like that, so I thought this might be a lot easier. Okay, so that's together. It's just kind of jibber jabbering while my glue was drying. And then for the ends here, I'm just going to cut a little tail on this end and a little tail on this end. Okay. And then right there in the center, I'm going to add my flower. A little bit of hot glue. Pop that in the center. And we have our cute little bow for our box. So let's set this one aside. And let's get started on the card first. Okay, so for your card base, have this all sorted out here. You're going to need a sheet that measures 10 by 7 inches. Line it up at the 10-inch mark, and you're going to score it at 5. And then set your scoreboard aside. Fold your card in half. And then I went ahead and I rounded my corners, all 4 corners. And I've already embossed my red cardstock, which I showed you I used the snowflake for. But you're going to add your green cardstock first, and that measures 6 7/8 by 4 7/8. And we're going to round the corners on that. Get my glue ready. I've been having so much fun working on Christmas projects in July. It's been like really cheering me up and keeping me motivated. Okay, make sure you have the open part on the bottom, because I've already glued it before upside down, which this piece it doesn't matter, but the rest of it will. Okay, and this just measures so that you have a nice white border there. Then your red cardstock, which I said I've already embossed, that measures 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. You're going to round those edges, and then you're done rounding, because everything else we're going to leave square. And add some glue to that. Pop that right on top. Okay, and for our next piece here, the green mat that's underneath this green striped paper, that measures 5 5/8 by 3 1/8. On top of that, you're going to get your decorative mat that measures 5 1/2 by 3. And stack them on top of each other here. And then you're going to try and center it in your card. The inside of the card I left blank because I don't know what I want to stamp or who I'm going to send or gift it to. So I usually wait to stamp the insides until I'm getting ready to send them out and write a note in them. Okay, so once you have your big mat centered, we're going to make the banner piece. Okay, so your green cardstock measures 4 5/8 by 2 1/8. And then your decorative piece that goes on top is 4 1/2 by 2. So what I do is I usually cut, when I'm cutting a banner like this, I usually cut the decorative part first and make sure I like it. And then I'll go ahead and glue it on. I want to leave a little bit of an edge all the way around. And then that way it gives me a guide when I go to cut the green banner piece. So just remember to leave a little green edge around your banner. Okay, turned out like that. And then we're going to glue that on. And you want the banner, the top part of the banner, to hit the top part of the green cardstock underneath the red here, right in here. And you want to go in about 1/2 inch on the left when you do that. Leave about maybe 1/2 inch or less on this side. Okay, so it should look like that. The next piece is our sentiment. I've already stamped mine out, but the green piece you'll need is 1 7/8 by 3 7/8. And then the white sentiment cardstock measures 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. And I'll just run some glue on that. Once you have the measurements and the design down, you can really make a lot of these with all of your scraps. So when we glue this on, this edge here, I want it to be like kind of in the middle of our banner piece here, and then of course in the middle of this when you lay it down. Kind of like that, okay? Okay, so make sure you're in the center of this green cardstock and don't go past the center of the banner. Line that up. And then we've already made our flower, so we can pop that on. And then I'll show you how I use the bling. I like it right about there, personal preference. Okay, so I have this bling flourish, and what I did was cut a piece off of here. Let's see, we're gonna cut it right about there. And then here, I just cut it in half. So as you can see, I ran one of the pieces with the swirl going up and one of them with the swirl going down. I'm gonna do the same thing here. Kind of represents not having leaves. It just adds a little sparkle to your card, which I love a sparkle. I'm going to use my tweezer for this one. I want to make sure I kind of get it under there. That looks good. Okay, and this piece here, I'm just going to kind of try to put this right next to the green cardstock. Sometimes I have a hard time with these, but come on, Cindy. Okay, I think that looks kind of cute. Lay that down. And there we go. We have our card already made. So we're going to set this aside and we're going to create our box. And you're going to need your scoreboard for that. Oop, sorry guys. Okay. Let's create our lid. Okay, so for the lid, you're going to need a sheet that measures 6 1/16 by 5 1/16. You're going to line it up in your scoreboard and score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So 1 inch, turn it around, 1 inch, turn it around, 1 inch, flip it around, and 1 inch. Okay, so let's fold up our score lines. And then you're going to cut on this score line to meet up to the next one, but don't cut that edge off. And I'm just going to kind of take a little piece out there. Okay, and that way when I fold up my box, I can make this top flush with this. So cut your straight line and then just take a little angle out of it. Flip it around, cut on your score line, and then just a little tiny angle. Piece out, straight line, little piece out. Get rid of those pieces. I'm going to add glue to my 4 flaps, and then we're going to piece it together. You can use double-sided tape, you know, whatever you're comfortable with. So you're going to put this flap and this flap together, making sure your edges are flush with each other, nothing sticking out. Fold this one up and this one up. And same thing on this side. And meet those together. I'm just going to run my bone folder on the inside to make sure it's really pressed down well. Okay. For the top of our box, the top mat, that measures 3 7/8 by 2 7/8. Add a little bit of glue to the edges here. And I'm going to center that on top. Press it down. And then we're going to work on our 2 long sides of the box here. Those pieces are going to measure 3 7/8 by 7/8. And we're going to glue those on. I think these make really cute ornament little, you could put candies and you can put anything you want in these. So cute. I love this size. And it's not too small. Like I said, you could probably get a decent size ornament in there and tissue paper. Okay, I'm going to press it down again on the inside of my box with my bone folder. And I realized I didn't mat this side, so I'm just going to erase those measurements. There we go. And now we still have our 2 small sides to do. Those pieces measure 2 7/8 by 7/8. And glue. You don't even have to mat these. You could just make the box for decorative paper. And then you wouldn't have to do this, but I have a lot of scraps. Like I said, I like to use up. And making boxes like this and cards is a perfect way to get that done. Oh, okay. And flip those around and press down really good on the inside, so that you know they're adhered well. And then all that's left to do is to glue on our bow and our sentiment. Just going to add a little bit of hot glue to the back here. And I'm going to center that because I liked the little tag kind of hanging off. So what I did is this bow kind of got in the way from sliding it under. So I just went ahead and clipped that straight off. Put a little bit of hot glue here. And I'm going to slide it under and kind of tilt it a little bit. Okay, so that's our lid. We're going to make the bottom of the box now. For the bottom of the box, you're going to need a sheet of cardstock that measures 8 by 7. You're going to put it in your scoreboard. And you're going to score at 2 inches on all 4 sides. So 2 inches, flip, 2 inches, flip, 2 inches, flip, and 2 inches. And you can get rid of this scoreboard. Fold up our score marks. And I have the 8 by 7 measurement there, but it's going to get covered by decorative paper, so I'm not worried about erasing it. And we're going to cut our score lines similar to the way we did with the lid. So you're going to cut straight on the score line, meet up to the next score line, don't go past it, and then just cut a little triangle piece. Sorry, I'm all thumbs today. Triangle piece out. And I just do that so it's a little more flush when I glue it together. And a little piece there. Flip it around. Same thing here, straight. And then just cut yourself a little angle. And then straight. And a little angle off of that little square piece there. Glue it the same way. Putting glue, flipping my flaps up. I just like to add glue on them at the same time. You can do it one at a time if you'd like, whatever you're more comfortable doing. And then we're going to fold our flaps up to meet each other. That's 1, 2, flip it around, and this flap's going to go up to meet them. 3 and 4. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and run it along the inside there and press down on those flaps so I know they're nice and secure. Okay, we're going to do our long sides first. Those mats measure 3 7/8 by 1 7/8. Like I said, it doesn't exactly match the card I just made, but the colors are similar, so I think it'll go well together. I ran out of scraps. Okay, let's get the other side on, and then all we have left are our small flaps, or our small sides, I should say. Press down. Okay, and then our small sides measure 2 7/8 by 1 7/8. one to go. This is a nice size box too if you want to make somebody a bunch of embellishments and send them, or flowers. Okay, there's the bottom of our box, and our lid fits nice and snug, and we're ready to go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have fun making yours. If you have any questions, let me know. Take care and happy crafting.